Back from the dead.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Ghost Girl Diaries channel. We're today streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Wow, I feel like I forgot how to stream. It's been such a hot minute. I took a big break. I'm going to bring in Cat. Miss Cormier is here today.
Hello.
This is a
How are you?
It's good. It's good. It feels weird because I always forget, like, when I take a break, I'm like, what? How do I do this again? I feel like I'm like, oh, I don't remember anything.
It's like minor panic.
It's true. It's like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I have no idea what's going on. And really, like, it's like, okay, have a seat. You're fine. So yeah, this is a paranormal podcast for those of you brave enough to join the circle. Today is not totally paranormal chat though, which I guess is good. I feel like these chats balance us out a little bit for all of the crazy topics that we sort of talk about in between. Next week is going to be Lake Monsters with Elfie. I know she's really excited about that one. And we're actually going to be drawing in Shaylee, who is our newest crew member. She will be joining us starting, I think, 2 weeks from now. And she's very excited. She's got some really cool topics that she got to pick. Today, though, I'm actually handing the reins to Kat. I haven't done this before because Kat's going to be actually interviewing me and like I'm the guest in my own channel. It's fine. So here's Miss Cormier. I'm handing it over to you, Miss Cormier.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here, Krystal.
You're
It's your own channel. Fine.
It's true. I'm a little nervous. I'm like, no one's ever, like, in my circle has interviewed me before. You know what I mean? But you were talking about, like, the journey, and you're like, there's so many things you've been through that you need to, like, share with people.
I think it's important. I also think that, for those of you that might be new, we've had some new followers and new subscribers and things like that might not be very familiar with Krystal right off the bat. I think this is an awesome opportunity for, you to kind of share your space and share your story. And just to do a little shout out, if you haven't gotten Krystal's book yet, Ghost Girl Diaries, The Love Diaries, you should definitely buy a copy on Amazon. You can also get it on Barnes & Noble, I believe, online.
Yeah.
And
there's a publisher that's currently wanting to pick it up, which I'm shocked about. It's had such great sales and it has very positive feedback. It's not perfect. There's a couple of... it was self-published, so I did it myself. But, it's like, if you're going to be a hater, show me the book you wrote then. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to hate on me for my few mistakes in there? Give me your book. Let me see it. But, yeah, there's a publisher that's currently wanting to step in to pick it up where they would fix those mistakes and then develop it, which is shocking. So it's crazy, like, the doors that open, like, the universe opens so many doors for you once you get that, like, manifestation going. So I'm very grateful.
It's so true. I mean, you've worked so hard, your whole career in film. And, let's just start right there. Let's just start right from the beginning. The very beginning of it all.
If I black out, just revive me.
I'll revive you for sure.
Or if I just start staring at his face, like, are you there? Are you okay?
Like, Krystal, you wait. Fine.
Literally. Career, like, you're wanting to start Paranormal Challenge days.
Yeah, let's start it up. I feel like you've already shared your paranormal story. I feel like that's already kind of been, publicized and out there, and that's what you're very well known for. But, just right off of the bat, actually, here's a really good question before we get started. And I already know how you're going to answer. Do you consider yourself a paranormal investigator or a filmmaker?
Well, both, obviously, but starting my career, like, if you're talking even previous to being on Travel Channel with Paranormal Challenge, I never, ever, ever wanted to be in a paranormal group. And that is not to discourage anyone that's watching, because I have promoted paranormal groups. Like, so many people are like, Krystal, how do I get into paranormal? And I always say, find a local group, start getting involved with a local group. That, however, was never meant to be a part of my journey. That isn't to discourage you, so let's please make that very clear. Don't take words out of my mouth. Why did I not want to be in a paranormal group? For so many reasons. I had my own, I guess, with my very small mutual friends. But if you're talking these massive groups that run 20, 30 people per group, you guys know. You've seen them online. I never wanted to run one of those. I never had a desire to be in one. There's so many reasons why. There's logistics behind it, between drama that goes on where like people fight. I've heard horror stories where it's like high school nitpicking. If you can go in and like mute all of the drama out and just focus on what you want to do, which is investigate. Another reason is a paranormal equipment is expensive. You know, like one item, a millimeter, like the good one with the rim function, you're talking $196 to $250 depending on where you buy it. So if you're having to run a group where you're providing equipment for like 20 or 30 people, how are you going to profit, like make money back? And how I've seen other people do it is they'll do like local seminars or local conferences, and they'll go sell like jewelry and crystals and tarot stuff. Like, so they make money that way, but there's really no way to make money back on it. So the reason I turned to the filmmaking side was because it's profitable. I needed to do something with paranormal and investigating that would make a profit come back to me, to not only fund me, but fund everyone involved. Have I ever wanted to be in a group and like do it that way? That sounds horrible to me, to be honest. And I don't let that discourage you. Because I think it's great for people out there that didn't get a shoe in like I did with Travel Channel. But like, I would never in my wildest dreams want to run a group. It sounds horrific to me. It sounds like it would be very stressful. You'd have to maneuver working with different diverse of people, fights, drama. How are you going to make money off of it is my biggest thing. So yeah, there is a distinguishable line where I do consider myself a filmmaker, period. I am an investigator, but I am first a filmmaker, period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, just to piggyback off of what Krystal said as well, you know, everyone's experiences are different. So definitely don't let that discourage you if you're part of a paranormal group or things of that nature, because we all need to get experience from somewhere. Mm-hmm. But, you know, running it and like being a part of a community group, you know, weird things can happen. And on Krystal's end, it's more of, she was more wanting it to become a lifestyle, mm-hmm. An attainable lifestyle, with a bigger message than just paranormal, which is also why we wanted to get into this discussion today. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's talk about Travel Channel. Let's start from the beginning.
So, I mean, I started investigating, breaking into, like, I did illegal things when I was a kid, you know, like 15, 16 years old. I was that kid. We all did, you know?
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend named Josiah. We're still friends to this day. You've met Josiah. Like, he was so supportive of me liking scary stuff. Like, we would lie about our age to get in haunted houses, and they'd let us in. And, like, I was just obsessed with Halloween. Him and I would go, he got a car before I did. And if we were bored on a Friday night, we were at the cemetery, like, looking for shadows and, like, creepy stuff. Like, it started that way. And then when I turned about 19, it was with Aaron from Paranormal Challenge. I've known Aaron since like 7th grade, the tall, skinny guy. We invested in just some cheap like digital recorders. And we started going to the Stanley Hotel just like constantly, because it was like an hour away from Denver. And we were like I remember the first time I got my first EVP, it was like, oh my God, this shit's real. Like, I know you've seen other people do it and stuff, but, like, when you get your first piece of evidence or that first interaction, it's just like, like, oh, my God, like, the other side actually does exist, and you can get proof of it. So it became, like, I can only describe it as adrenaline and addiction. It's, like, it's the same as when people are doing motocross or BMX bikers or Tony Hawk with his skateboarding. Like, it's an obsession, and it, like, gets your adrenaline going, and you know, moving forward, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It's funny because to this day, I'll like rekindle relationships from high school friends or whatever. And they're like, oh, so what are you doing, Krystal? Like, how's your life been? You know? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a filmmaker, and I'm scared to tell them. And then I tell them that I do paranormal, and they're like, oh, well, that doesn't like shock me. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I guess I was weird back then and didn't know it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I tried to hide that like dark side of me a little bit. But, you know, I turned 24-ish is when I first applied for Paranormal Challenge. There was a casting call that was out on, I think it was like Twitter at the time or something. It might have been Facebook. I ran across it one day and I sent all of our information in, and we did not get a call back. Actually, like 2 or 3 submissions later, I didn't get a call back. And this was like September of the previous year before I filmed on set. And then February of the following year, I had it was a life-changing experience. I had lost my gallbladder. I had surgery on Christmas Eve. And so I had this, it was like I was deathly ill over Christmas, and like it was just, I just had like weird things happen. And so when February rolled around and I saw another casting for it, I was like, screw this, I'm gonna try it again. And like literally, I remember the casting for it. I found it. I was like, it was one of those late nights, because all of us that are in paranormal are like insomniacs. Like, I'm laying in bed. It's 4 a.m. I happen to see the casting call. I text Aaron, and I'm like, dude, there's another freaking casting call. And he's like, don't apply. We're not going to get it again. Like, we didn't hear anything before. And so I literally, and I've talked about this in bed. I sat in bed for like 20 minutes. You know when you like have conversations with yourself and you're like,
every day of my life.
You're like, I should submit it. And then there's another voice, no, don't submit it. Like, you're just going to fail again. Like, no, just, who cares? Just submit it. So I literally sat there for 20 minutes just, like, arguing with myself. And I was, because I was, you know, it's 4 a.m., you're in bed, you're in pajamas, you want to sleep. And I was like, just get your ass out of bed, get on your laptop, and submit it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? That you don't get it again? Who cares? And so I did. I got up, and I submitted it. And the next day, at 10 a.m., I got a phone call from the casting director that we'd been chosen for an interview. And I was like, oh my God. I know, you must have been so shocked. Shocked. I didn't believe it. Honestly, I didn't believe it. And I had never gone through, like, that was like my first experience with professional production and like how they do things in the production company in the studio. And I remember calling Aaron, and I was like, oh my God, we got the interview. Like, you have to come over, like, right now. And at the time, we'd had a couple other friends that we weren't sure who was going to go with us. We just knew it was going to be Aaron and I. We needed 3 people total. And so Aaron and I went ahead and did the interview without the third person, because we needed to still decide who we were taking. And we nailed the interview. We nailed the freaking interview. And I told you this story last week. You didn't even know this story. I don't think I've even shared this. I was the casting director's like, okay, well, you know, Mr. Bagans is the one that has final say on who's, like, choosing. And he goes, you'll know by tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon. So I will call you Colorado Mountain Time noon. And then you'll find out if you made it or not. I was like, okay. So I woke up like a total frazzled mess. My mom was like, God, you need to calm down, Krystal. Like, you're going to have a heart attack. So my mom's like, let's just go out to lunch. And like, it was like 11. Let's go to lunch and like get some food. And I was so nervous. I couldn't even eat. I remember. And so we went to Chili's, if anyone's familiar with Chili's. Chili's are like big in Lakewood, Colorado, where I grew up. Like, bro, whatever, you know, like, let's go to Chili's. Like, everyone from high school worked at Chili's. And not me. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, you know. But so we go to Chili's, and my phone rings. It's a number I haven't heard from before, and it's a New York area code, because the production company was out of New York. And I had just ordered like a salad, and I told you I like jumped up out of the booth, and I was like, like everyone's looking at me. Literally, I was like, oh my God, there's a number from New York calling. Like, I was just panicked. And like, my mom's like, well, why don't you step outside? Because like, you're making people look this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're making a scene. So I ran out of the restaurant. They probably thought there was like an emergency or something, but I ran out of the restaurant. There was a sidewalk in front of Chili's, and I answered the phone, and it's the casting director. He's like, hey, Krystal, you know, I have some good news for you, but just hang on. I'm looking for my papers. So at this point, I am just pacing back and forth, like, up the street.
Sweating.
Like, just like, and he's like, wow, it's really loud where you're at. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm next to, like, a major street. I was on Wadsworth, and he goes, well, you made it. You made the cut. And I was, like, screaming. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, you're going to be on the show. And I just started screaming, and I was jumping. I mean, people that were driving by probably thought, like, there was something wrong with that girl, like put her in a psych ward or something, you know. And so I came running inside and told my mom, and we made it. We made the cut.
Yeah, it's really incredible, you know, when you trust your gut and you trust your intuition and you just kind of do the thing without really thinking about what will happen next, you know, kind of paves the way for, you know, really amazing future opportunities. And, you know, even more so when you're given that opportunity to interview and to really like put yourself out there, you know, authenticity reads. And that's something that you also have brought into Ghost Girl Diaries. And, you know, what you've built this on as well is being your authentic self. And, you know, it's just, that's so incredible. That is absolutely so incredible.
Well, it's definitely that teacher, that lesson of the universe saying, like, okay, yeah, you got turned down 3 times, but, like, don't give up your dreams or something that could be your future just because you got turned down 3 times. Like, society teaches us failure's bad, when failure is actually one of our biggest lessons. Every time you fail, it is a positive thing. And like, we beat ourselves up because it starts in grade school. You get an F on your, you know, your test. And you think, like, the world's over. I'm going to go home. My mom's going to kill me. I failed my test. But what it teaches you is don't fail again. Study harder. You didn't study enough. Or the next time in film or production, whatever you're doing with Paranormal Challenge, just try one more time. Keep trying. Yeah. And honestly, like, in my journey, I think 99% of doors have been shut. I've either had to build my own door or wait for that 1% to open.
Yeah. It's really interesting we're talking about this. And, you know, Krystal and I in the past have talked about divine timing as well. And maybe there are reasons behind, you know, it being rejected the first couple of times, not even having to do with you or your crew or anything of that nature. But I read something online recently that said rejection is just redirection.
It is.
And it's just so powerful, you know, to think about that, because it's true from what you said. You know, rejection is seen as such a negative and, you know, there's something wrong with you. But in reality, it's just perspective. You know, like, what can I do to do better next time? You know, how can I learn more? Because we're constantly evolving and learning new things, you know, no matter how far along we are on a path. So
I had to get comfortable with being told no. Like, you have to be comfortable with being told no. And to the point where, like, now I'm like, whatever. If it's a no, it's a no. It doesn't work out. Whatever. Not the end of the world. Thank you, Laura, for the bits. But, you know, like, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means that this particular path isn't right, or you need to try and try again. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been knocked down and I've had to figure out how to get back up. So I want to teach that to people, that, like, whatever you want to do, it may not be paranormal, but, like, and I'm fighting something even harder that's female and paranormal, female in film. That's just like, it just makes it 400 times worse. Trailblazing is difficult. But anything you want to do, like, you're the one setting the limitations to your head. No one else is.
It's true. It's very, very true. And just to do another little plug here, Ghost Girl Diaries, Love Diaries memoir here. If you haven't bought it, you should buy it. Jesus. It's just such a great example of, you know, having hard struggles in life and still persevering and being successful in what you do no matter what, with a different mindset, and, you know, going through those struggles and it shaping you into the, you know, amazing human being that you are today.
Well, like I said, that year that, like, I got turned down 3 times and then we got it again. Another thing I didn't share was before I had the gallbladder surgery and I got, like, really sick, and I, like, physically I was sick. I'd lost a bunch of weight. I had been in a really terrible relationship. I had accidentally gotten pregnant. I talk about this in the book. I had lost the baby. It was a terrible miscarriage I dealt with. I was under, like, a tremendous amount of stress. I had a rare condition where my blood type did not match the guy's blood type, and then the baby that we created, my blood type was essentially rejecting the baby's blood type. And I was being told to abort the baby, and I was like, no, I'm going to keep the baby, and, like, you know, whatever. And I got sick, deathly sick. And so that was when I lost the baby. Then I had the gallbladder surgery. My life had done, like, a 360 within, like, 6 months, not even a year. I had gotten away from him, like, he was evil, you know what I mean? Like, I had gotten a restart in my life, and then Paranormal Challenge happened, and I got the call, and it was like, it's weird, like, your life can just change in an instant, like, completely. You have to choose, though. Do you want to stay the victim your whole life and be beat up and like claim like, oh, poor me, like all this happened to me? Or are you going to pick yourself up, even if it's scraping yourself off the ground? Because I've had to do that several times, more than several times. Are you going to pick yourself off the ground, take the positive out of it, and like continue forward, move hard, accomplish something with it? Or are you going to sit and like pout in like your depression? Because trust me, if you think I haven't been through it, I have. And I'm not talking clinical depression. Please don't get that. I understand clinical depression is different. I just mean like I've been through some dark times, some dark shit, and I chose not to be the victim, and I chose to get up and continue and keep trekking forward no matter how hard it's going to be.
It's true. And, you know, that's just such a powerful message, I think, for everybody, you know, and I hope that anybody listening here, you know, really, really hears this and, you know, allows it to, you know, transform their life and just think in a new perspective, you know, because everyone deals with situations differently. But when you hit that moment of saying, you know what, like I'm no longer in this mindset, watch your life transform.
Mm-hmm.
Watch your life transform. It's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So just to jump quickly back to Paranormal Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that? Were you sent right out on set? Tell us a little bit about that.
So Paranormal, I was in Colorado. The episode that was filming was in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I later found out from one of the producers that apparently there had been another group that had already been cast for my episode, and they dropped out at the last minute, which was like what left the opening. So literally within 7 days to a week, I had to go to Arizona. I had no choice. And I'd be there for a week filming from basically like Monday to Saturday or something like that. But we had to get there Sunday because obviously we had to be on set very early Monday. We couldn't travel on Monday. So it was basically an entire week situation. I was, at that time, I was no longer a cosmetologist. I had stopped cosmetology for various reasons. I'm going to be just honest. The reason I stopped cosmetology was because you become a therapist when you're a stylist. People pour their like emotions out to you, and I had a lot of wonderful clients, but I was really tired of hearing about their affairs with their husbands, and just it was a lot. As an empath, I was just dead by the time I got home. So I ended up getting I had a few jobs as an executive assistant, which they make really good money. I was making like $100,000 a year as an executive assistant. I was working for this hospital that was it was a really fancy hospital in Colorado. I worked in a department where they hired and fired doctors. I had to help check doctor credentials. I had to fly out doctors from different locations all over the United States. And I was a very good worker, hard worker, had my own desk. I worked right under the main like boss lady. And when I found out about Paranormal Challenge, I couldn't offer like an advanced time to say, you know, it's going to be in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. I said, hey, I have to leave in a week. I didn't really say what it was.
Right.
But I said I'm going to have to take a week off. Now, take in mind, I hadn't taken any time off. I had been on time every day. Like I was like, I didn't take any paid time off. Like I was that person. I worked hard. And my boss was like, okay, well, I'm going to need to think about it. And she came to me the next day at my desk and she's like, I decided you're so valuable to the company, like I can't let you leave for a week, even if it's on like an emergency status. And I was like, whoa. I'm begging you to let me leave for 7 days. Like I just need 7 days. Like it's not even 7, it's 5 days. It's 5 work days. I would prefer an extra day off to sleep, but it's fine. I'll deal. Like, and she's like, nope, I won't do it. And she goes, if you're going to leave, you're going to have to quit. And I went home because obviously at that time I have a brand new car. I have a brand new Mustang. It's $300 a month payment, you know.
Right.
I'm young, so my insurance is like $300 a month. And I have a townhouse, you know, that's like at that time $900 a month. Living, you know, bills. Bills, yeah.
Adds up.
And I went home to my mom. I went to my mother's house and I started bawling my eyes out. And I said, "They're not gonna let me. They're not gonna let me take the time off." And she's like, then you're going to have to quit, Krystal. And she's like, you're going to have to go. You cannot miss this opportunity in Arizona. So, I mean, I'm really lucky. I've always had, you know, although my dad wasn't extremely present in my life, my mother has always let me do my crazy adventures. So essentially I ended my lease. I ended up selling my car and moved in with my mom and then found another job basically when I got back from Paranormal Challenge. She was like, just don't let this ruin your opportunity. Like this could be a life-changing opportunity, which she was very right. And I went to Arizona, and I got in the car. It just happened so fast.
So wild. I know. That's so crazy.
And at this point, I'm like already becoming obsessed with production, because they're calling me because I'm in pre-production now, you know what I mean? And they're calling me constantly and like, are you okay? Where are you at? Like, when you gonna be there? Here's your time check-in. And now I'm becoming obsessed with the production side of things, because I love this. Yeah.
Yep.
Fast paced. It's important. You have things to do. You have to be somewhere. And I'm just becoming obsessed with it. So we get in the car. We rented a car and drove to Arizona, so I didn't put miles on my car. And then we had another friend, which was obviously Garrison. I actually met Garrison on World of Warcraft. I had known him for like 10 years on WoW. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so I had a few friends that had fallen out that were supposed to also go with us, but they just couldn't go at the last minute. And Garrison came from California and met us there. And I was on set Monday morning, and it was just bam. Like there was, yeah. And it was... I remember, like, so we checked into the hotel on Sunday night. We shared a hotel that was like, you know, a 2-bedroom hotel. It was like a suite thing. And the boys slept together and I slept by myself. And we got to set the next day. And Jerome's very strange anyway, Jerome, Arizona, because it sits on the side of like a mining town, you know, and the big hotel, which used to be it's a haunted hospital, sits like on top of the freaking like mine mountain. And I just remember driving up, and, you know, I'm like, whoa, this is so weird. And then we get out of the car, it says like cast park here, you know, and then you feel important. You're like, yes. Awesome. And then we're walking up, and there's like huge trailers of like just extension cords and cameras and lighting and, I mean, everything, and people like PAs and producers, and like it's busy. And I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. I don't even know. Like, I know it sounds stupid, just seeing the cable cords, like, made me excited. I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. It was like the catalyst to, like, your future and, like, you know, where you're headed now. So, you're on set. I'm going to do a little spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't watched Paranormal Challenge. I'm sorry. Your team won.
Yep.
How was that feeling?
We kind of knew that we had won already. Because there was like a debacle that was going on behind set. Everything that you saw was like legit. Like we had to get our own evidence and gather it. But the other team had like recorded themselves and then tried to submit it as an EVP. And like there was like a fight going on with the judges, and it was like an 8-hour ordeal. It was literally supposed to go on for like an hour, and it ended up turning into like an 8-10 hour ordeal of like the judges arguing of like who should win or who shouldn't. And I just knew that we had won. I was really sad for it to end. I got very close. Evan and Jay Evan was my audio tech and Jay was my like camera tech. So we were assigned, and I got really close with them. Like I love them. I'm still like, I follow them on social media still. Like, and it was just, it felt like family, and I was like, this is like the family I've never had, you know, of this production, and I want to recreate this somehow. Like, it goes so much deeper than just paranormal. It was the film aspect of it, of like you're creating a story behind the lens of like your perspective, and then it's also the aspect of just a family unit. Like you're traveling together as a family, but yet you're not family, but you're really like close. So I wanted to recreate that. I just knew that was what I was meant to do.
Yeah. Wow. I can't imagine that feeling and all of this stuff happening at once, and you kind of coming to these conclusions, and, you know, your life just kind of blooming after that. So your team won. What happened after that? Did you go off and do interviews? Because this is kind of where, you know, and you've talked about this in the past, where you worked your butt off, you got on this show, your team won, you led this team, and your credibility skyrocketed. You're really becoming really well known in the paranormal community and in film. Well,
YouTube helped push that, but before YouTube, there was a time before YouTube, which was, so we get back from Arizona, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna figure out how to do this on my own. What do I mean by that? I'm gonna shoot my own film or pilot and submit it, and I'm gonna get my own series going. And so we have there's a long story with that. So Garrison had come out from California to film. This was out like maybe 2 or 3 months after Paranormal Challenge ended. So this was like September of 2011, a few months later. Now with that, for some reason, a lot of people had gravitated towards me that I never even met. So they must have like seen something in me energetically. So I made friends with the like famous paranormal community quickly after they saw my episode. So I was getting like social media invites to these like paranormal events like all over. I went to Scarefest a few times. I was constantly at the Stanley Hotel, wherever these paranormal events were going on, and these private parties. Like I was invited. I don't know why, honestly, because at that time, I didn't even have YouTube behind my belt. So they must have seen or like energetically known I was gonna make something of myself or something. And then in the meantime, I had gone Garrison to fly out, and then we were gonna shoot a pilot. And the first shot that I had done was a mess. Basically, the first time I tried to shoot a pilot was, it turned into a chaotic fight essentially, and Garrison left, and we actually haven't spoke since. I don't really have hard feelings towards him. I just think that like I was young and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't able to lead it properly. I think I was guessing from what I had seen, and I don't even know. Like I don't even remember what the fight was with Garrison. I think it was just the cost of what it was going to cost for production, and like they were fighting with me about like titles and like, you know, I want to be a cinematographer, I want to be the director. And I was like, who cares? We have to make it. Like we have to create the thing first before you want. First. Yeah, well, like people have these illusions of like, I want to be the director of it. I want this title. I'm going to go get an Academy Award. And you're like, okay, well you got to freaking make the thing first before you get there, you know? So, so Garrison had left. I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of like trying to figure out where to pick up. Then I met a person. I'm not going to name his name. He was a film student at, where I was going in Denver. I was going to, CU Denver for film. And, he was like, yeah, I'm down for this pilot. Like, let's do this. And so I refunded personally an entire trip back to Jerome. We were going to film again at Jerome. Yeah, it was, and I alone, like I paid for it myself. Now, honestly, I'm going to be real. At that time, it probably only cost about $10,000, but that's a lot of money still. You know what I mean? Like
worse.
Yeah.
Doing it yourself.
Like that was a lot. That's a lot. And so we drive to Jerome, like, so it's myself, Aaron, and this other person. We get to Jerome, and this other person's going to be the main camera tech, and I think he sees my like my drive, but yet like doesn't want to put out the effort for the drive. And so we I met with Lonnie and like Renee, who are down, like they were on the episode. They've been on like episodes with Jerome, and I met with like Krystal Leandra, who is the manager, and I had this whole thing planned out, and we decided to investigate the old haunted, it was like the 1800s one. There's like a smaller, older one next to the big hotel. And I had warned everyone. I was like, when you're in here, like there's crawlers, there's dark, creepy things, don't go off by yourself. And the camera tech that I'd hired, he was an ex-veteran, and he was tough, quote unquote, because he'd been to war. I'm sorry, but war is not the same as dealing with ghosts. It's just not. And he floated off from us and didn't take a walkie, didn't take his cell phone, and ended up in the morgue of the old hotel. And we couldn't find him for 2 hours. When he walked in the morgue, he went in the body freezer. Now, the freezer doesn't still work, but the lock does work. Now, body freezers, I don't know if you're familiar, but they're very thick and heavy walls because they used to house dead bodies. He went in the freezer, and an entity locked him in there for like 2 hours, and we didn't know he was there.
Oh my gosh.
And so we were like, did he like leave? Did he get scared and leave? He was screaming, and we couldn't hear him through the freezer.
Ooh, that's nightmare.
Because I'm talking like thick, like dense walls. You know, it like I said, it wasn't cold, so he didn't like freeze or die. But like, thank God, because it's so old. But he's like, one of you close me in there for fun? And I'm like, we didn't even know where you went.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know where you went. And so he came out. He was so scared because he was locked in there in the pitch dark, no flashlight, just his, like, so, and essentially one night was completely wasted on my dollar. He was so scared he wanted to go back into the hotel and just sleep. So Chris had let us rent the suite for free. Mm-hmm. And we were in there, and he essentially had a freaking meltdown, basically, claiming that he was possessed. And he was like feeling possession come on. He kept saying that there was like a purple green entity watching him from the hallway, and he got on the bed. He was screaming, spinning in circles. I didn't film anything, obviously. I had holy water and some other stuff. I was very inexperienced then. I didn't know what I was doing. And we got him out of it. And essentially the next day he woke up and he was like, I am not staying here anymore. We're leaving. And it was $10,000 of my money that I wasn't going to get back. And he did have some footage of me and what we had done. And he was so mad at me because I took him to such a haunted location. He basically blackmailed me with the footage and said he wouldn't give me any of the camera footage until I paid him an extra amount of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I've been blackmailed from the beginning with things, you know what I mean? But like, if he ever puts that footage anywhere on YouTube, and I have people and my attorneys watch him like a hawk, like I'll slap him with like a cease and desist. And he doesn't have me. I never signed a document for him to be able to use my footage. Right. He has signed one for me because obviously I was the owner of the company. But yeah, he was evil person. And that was when I started to realize how dark people could be and try to use you for money and use you for, he was really piggybacking us off of like what we had gotten from Paranormal Challenge. And unfortunately, it ended up, so we got back to Denver, and this person was very toxic and dark, and he convinced Aaron to turn against me, essentially. He said, Aaron, you know, and once again, Aaron and I have been friends since we were 14. He tells Aaron, like, oh, you know, like, Krystal owns this company, and, like, you don't get a pay out of it. And I'm like, that's because I'm not even getting a pay out of it. Like, all the equipment, everything I was buying was on my dollar. Like, it wasn't made any other, like, how, we don't even have a YouTube channel. Like, there's no income. Mm-hmm. And essentially they bullied me into a corner. Literally, we had a meeting, and they literally tried to bully me as a woman, saying that if I didn't sign over equal parts of the business to them, that they were going to walk. And at that time, my mom had been an investor. She had been purchasing equipment for me. And so she came in and said, okay, you guys can have part of this, but you'll have to pay me back like the $7,000 I have invested in this. Well, they couldn't do that. So they got up, and I never talked to Aaron again.
It's just so crazy when you go through experiences like that to really see like their true intentions in the end. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's so wild.
It's not the first or last time I've had a friend stab me in the back over something stupid. You know,
it's just
I've been the one that's been in pain before, and like I understand people's trauma, and I understand like what people go through. When you become friends, you learn things about people, private things. I would never throw someone else or their trauma under the bus because I've had it done to me. Mm-hmm. I would never hurt or harm someone using their trauma against them the way that I've had people use it against me, because it hurts when it happens. And especially like I'm the Taurus. I'm a very loyal person, like fresh to the death type of person, like ride or die to the end. And that hurt really bad. That hurt, especially because I'd been friends with him since 8th grade.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And I feel like, you know, when you're doing a project like this, especially with, you know, some that were already involved in film, I feel like there would already be an undertone in communication and understanding that this is, you know, we're all doing this to just like help each other out and to be a part of this project, and like point blank, you know, like clear cut from the beginning.
Aaron should have known I didn't have a lot of money to really at that time to invest. You know what I mean? And this other person, I think, saw us as, we're on TV, Krystal's got I've always lived a nice life, but I've also worked very hard for it. So people see me on the outside and they're like, oh, she's got money. It's like, because I like work 24/7, understand that. Like, nothing
Right.
has been handed to me. And people just think they can, like, scoop in and just, like, swipe things from you. And it sucks because you lose a friendship. And,
It's true.
Yeah, it's sad.
Well, and you always just lay all your cards on the table. You've always been that type of person, and you've always been like that with even me and anybody you work with. So it just really blows my mind when, you know, people act like this, because it's also a two-way street. If they have questions or concerns, they could also come to you after you've already laid the cards on the table. So
Well, this other
Don't get me
person
started.
was just convinced I was made of money, and that if I signed over 3-way, I'm like, oh, I mean, I'll sign the business over. It's not worth anything. Like, it literally was not worth anything.
Right.
Like, when I was, like, doing my taxes at that time, it was like I was having a loss because I was buying equipment, you know what I mean? And not making...
$1,000.
I mean, so much money. And that sort of started this. But once again, I'm not going to take the negative out of it, because I learned a lot from those experiences and what not to do and what kinds of people not to work with. And it started this path of the next chapter was filming several different pilots that I actually did finally get to film. So I did win sort of in the end, just not with that particular group of people. It's
so true. It's so true. So now to talk about the YouTube channel, so you filmed several pilots after Paranormal Challenge, and you're really invested, like really immersing yourself in film and just like doing the thing. When did YouTube come around? When did you start to have that idea for your YouTube channel of Ghost Girl Diaries?
I made another couple of friends at film school that were like really dug the paranormal thing, and one of the pilots is on our channel. Matt was someone that I had worked with. It's on, I think it's under Gold Camp Road or something like that. And, you know, Matt and I were friends. We no longer speak, and we don't speak because he wanted the title director, yet he had no experience with paranormal. And once again, I was just sick of the titles. Like, why do we have to have titles at this time? I just want to shoot this and get it done. Like, you're going to do camera work. Can't you just stick with that and then let me decide how it's going to unfold, or like what the storyline is? It was always about who has the biggest balls and who can lay it out on the table. And I was like, and I'm a female. And they were like, oh, not you. You know what I mean? Like, you're a girl. So at this point, I'm really experiencing on not even the film side of just humans don't like humans don't like females in power, and it sucked. And so I did shoot that pilot with him. After we shot it, he was like, you know, I mean, this is like 2012, 13-ish. He's like, there's some people I know that have like started a YouTube channel, and like it's really like taken off, and like you should try it or something, you know. And I was like, I don't, you know, like at that time I didn't even really know how to edit, and I started taking editing classes in film school in Denver, trying to figure out how to edit, and I was like, oh, it's actually kind of easy. And I started the YouTube channel in about 2013, just on suggestion. I don't know, it just happened, you know what I mean? Like, my original videos you'll never find them. They are burning in hell somewhere. And I hope that they never come out. Like, I hope to God nobody downloaded them and they pop up. They were horrendous. Like,
you blew them up.
Oh, they're gone. They're literally not even on private on my channel. Like, they're deleted.
To be fair, though, I mean, we all start somewhere.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, like, it's okay. Like, we get to where we are now based off of, you know, the steps we took to get to here. So.
I don't even know, like, we were going to post the pilot on YouTube for sure. And I was fine with that, but then I was like, I started researching YouTube, and like, you have to upload consistently, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And so I started talking about like my experience with Paranormal Challenge, being on set. Let me tell you, my first videos, I am like actually literally sitting at like one of those $30 Walmart card tables. I have like a backdrop up, but it's like literally like a piece of fabric with like sequins. No lighting. I was like not confident in myself. I'm wearing a hat. You can like hardly see me. I'm like literally like this. And they blew up. I don't even know how that happened, honestly. I don't even know how it happened. And so then it started going well, and I was like, oh my god, I have to like do something better. So I like started morphing it slowly, and then it just became a thing. And then slowly I ended up like getting rid of those old ones because they were just so bad. But like honestly, practice makes perfect. Me practicing in front of the camera made perfect. Me practicing using the camera made perfect. Me practicing editing made perfect. Like there's a reason for the journey of like how it sort of unfolded. So yeah, it just became a thing. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know how.
That's so amazing. So when did you start to see, like, what video was the one that kind of like skyrocketed your YouTube channel? Like what kind of I guess, like, theme did you end up going with your channel?
So, Ghost Adventures, I was doing, like, reviews on Ghost Adventure. I don't even know where that came from either, because that wasn't even my original videos. Like, once again, you'll never see my, like, OG videos.
They're gone!
They're gone! And I hope that they stay there, okay? My Ghost Adventures videos, like, I think people, like, I'm just gonna say it. Because, like, there's no filter. I think people enjoyed that I was tearing Zach apart.
Yeah.
From, like, a production standpoint. Because now I'm in film school. Like, I'm training. I've been hired on set, like, in Denver for different productions. Like, I really, like, have this down. Like, I've got this down. And I'm watching some of his stuff, and I'm critiquing Ghost Adventures. And he actually appreciated it. He'd reach out to me and be like, you know what, someone's got to keep me in check. And it actually, I think, in the end made him a better filmmaker, because he would watch my reviews and he would apply things that I saw that were a problem. So it was very interesting dynamic. Most people get, like, offended by that, but he actually took that information and, like, ran with it. But it was...
Sometimes you need an outside perspective to, like, freshen it up, spruce it up, you know?
I agree. Well, and I think it was different perspective, too, because it was, like, a female in paranormal. What is this? This is kind of new, and she's very... One thing I'm going to tell everybody is, like, if you want to do anything with your life, you have got, as a woman, and I know this sucks, but, like, I've had to learn this the hard way, and it's taken me a long time to learn this. As a woman in this world where equality still does not exist, you have to lead with masculine energy. So what I mean by that is I cannot go into my negotiations and be like, oh, my name's Krystal, I'm very polite, and I'm like, that's, you know, I'm an executive producer. No, I have to go in and be like, hey guys, what's up? I'm Krystal, this is what I've done, this is what I have, this is what I want, what are you going to offer me? Because that's how men do deals. I had to learn how to talk like a man. And you know, it does, it sucks, but like you get more respect that way, especially from men. And because they look at me like, oh, blonde girl with like makeup and glitter, let me hear what you have to say. And like automatically, like, just for my appearance stereotype, they're not going to take me serious. Right. But yeah, YouTube just blew. I don't know. Like, and then like I did a video about Paranormal State, and that one blew up. And then I did another video about Nick Groff getting fired, and that one's almost at 1 million views right now by itself. And
People are still commenting on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what I did, honestly. Like, I don't, you know, and you look back, and I really hope at the end of the day that it's me that people liked, and that's what kept them coming back. It wasn't necessarily what I was saying, and they were like, you know what, this bitch is smart. Like, she has a lot of good things to say, and I hope that was what kept bringing them back. But I think everybody, especially people that are OG, like, they've seen me evolve from, like, where I started to, like, where I am now.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about on any journey, is the growth and looking back and saying, wow, I've evolved so much, and being proud in that moment. And it's, again, like, you know, authenticity reads, and you were speaking your truth and critiquing from your standpoint, very just like point blank and no wishy-washy. It is what it is, and that's fine. And I think people really resonated with that. I think people were kind of shocked, because in a world of, especially with women, where we're made to feel like we need to, like, you know, bow down or be nice or be kind or whatever, you know, you're like, no, screw that. I'm going to speak my truth. And this is my take on it, and no hate, but this is just from a film perspective. And yeah, it did. It skyrocketed.
Well, I had studied too, like different paranormal shows while I was in film school in Denver, and then I obviously transferred to Las Vegas to finish. But I was talking with some of my professors and stuff, and they were saying like you should compare different shows. Like different shows do different things, and what kind like you not only know the like production side, but you know the paranormal side. Like mute the two, and so they kind of gave me inspiration for it. But I remember saying like the biggest EP in the business, the best show, whether people want to, you can say you hate Ghost Adventures, fine. It's still the biggest, best show in the business. He is the biggest shark. I have to jump in the pool and fight the biggest shark. That's the only way I'm going to get anywhere.
Right.
I have to go straight for the top. I can't, I don't even care about all these little ones. And I think that was like really resonated with people too, to be like, oh my god, she's like, a lot of people give me shit like, oh, you just support Ghost Adventures. No, first of all, people wanted to see those reviews, and second of all is that I was critiquing it.
Yeah,
it was not always positive, believe me.
No, of course not. You were speaking your truth.
Mm-hmm.
You were being your authentic self, and also applying what you've been learning in film, which is really admirable.
Mm-hmm.
So YouTube's going really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are going awesome. What happens next? When did you start to, the whole situation occurred with the channel that we're not going to mention due to reasons of things? And
you mean the person that's now fighting UFC for some ungodly reason?
Yeah, that person,
makes me gag.
So was that like the next phase of the channel, and you kind of segueing into creating the pilot that we filmed?
The channel, yes, but like I had gotten, a couple years went by, and I'd gotten hired through Pilgrim Studios. They actually gobbled a bunch of us up. It wasn't just me, from like Paranormal Challenge. And a lot of us were studying under Mike's, which is one of the EPs there. He was recruiting us for different productions. He was picking our brains for what kind of productions we wanted to do. I was helping with on the creative end. I think he also knew that I had worked with Zach and wanted he was using me, for like, he wanted Zach's knowledge. At the time, I didn't know that because I was young. And he created like a new series that I was supposed to be a part of, which was Killer Contact. There's no shame in saying that. I got a contract. I was, my next major contract deal was with Killer Contact, and I was supposed to go to Europe for like 8 weeks and film. And he had hired some people that were doing some questionable moral things, such as Greg, who was on another episode. He was on the ship episode of Paranormal Challenge. Greg was wanting to like taunt the spirits by using a noose, and I just thought it was really disrespectful. I'm just to be honest, Greg was a misogynistic ass, and we didn't get along. And I don't have a problem saying that because I've said it to his face. And I was like deathly afraid of leaving to film with him for 8 weeks because I was going to knock him out at some point, because it was just like he was constantly just badgering me about being a female in paranormal, and like I was a wuss, and he used like derogatory terms. Mm-hmm. And like I don't tolerate people talking to me like that. So it was more than that. Like there was a lot of it, just like, as much as I like enjoyed and I learned when I was with Pilgrim and working there, and I loved being in LA, it was like that gut instinct of just knowing this is not meant to be your next step in your path. And and that's sad because like not a lot of people get offers for that kind of contract, like I just knew it wasn't right. I just knew it. I'd been on the phone crying for like 2 days, like talking to all my friends and like mentors, what should I do? And the day before I was supposed to leave, I cut my contract with Pilgrim and I left.
Yeah.
And then I kept going with YouTube, like, and then I was getting, in the meantime, I'm still getting hired while I'm doing YouTube, and like the channel's growing and getting bigger, and it's getting notoriety from people, and I'm getting hired to do like these side gigs, and I'm going to LA, and like I'm even doing editing gigs, and I'm like involved with I'm getting paid for this, and I'm like, yes, like this is, I wanted to become freelance, but like I didn't even have to try anything, you know what I mean? Like, and it just kept going, and then I kept the channel going, and I had met Blake in between, who, I mean, people don't even realize I was married the whole time I was on YouTube. I keep my personal life extremely private because it's nobody's business. I don't want anybody to know. And he helped fund some pilots that did fairly well. But once again, I ran into some other hiccups, not with him, but with people that we had hired. I hired one person. Let's go back and start from the beginning. I hired this one guy that ended up showing up to set with drugs. And at this point, I'm taking the production pretty serious, and so I had to send him home because he brought drugs to set, and I was like, you can't do that. Like, this is not, we're borrowing this place to film at. You can't show up with drugs here, you know. Like, then I had this other girl that was a lesbian, which is fine, no problem with that, but she always had drama going on with her girlfriend. I'm talking like her girlfriend was involved in like violent fights, and like they're bailing each other out of jail, and I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. So I had to let that person go. Then move on to the next one. I hired this one girl, and she like tells me out of the blue, she's like, oh, I'm a recovering heroin addict. And I was like, shoot, would have been nice to know that when I interviewed you. And I was like, how long have you been like sober? And she's like, oh, forever, like 3 weeks. And I was like, 3 weeks sober, okay. Like, I'm just, you know, like, this could ruin things for me. And then I hired this other girl who I loved because she was a mixed race, but she started posting drug-related stuff on her social media, and I'm trying to promote the pilot, and I'm scared that, like, production companies are going to watch her social media, and I'm scared that I'm not going to get signed just because this person, like, is reckless. And I confronted her about it, and she was basically like, I don't care, I'm going to live my life and do what I want. So I had to cut ties with her. So I've had a lot of, like, trials and tribulations with people. The same thing I have learned up until this point with people that are no longer with Ghost Girl Diaries is this lesson. They think that fame comes instantly. They think that they're going to sign with Ghost Girl Diaries and it's going to get signed, and you don't have to even lift a finger, you don't have to help in any way, shape, or form, and you're going to get rich and famous overnight. And that is not how this works. It's not how it works.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. And, you know, when you're working in a team environment, like anything, you know, everyone is kind of expected to do their part. And, you know, not that that's going to be an overhaul and like overloaded with work.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, a little bit goes a long way when it's spread between a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. And when it's not, that's when things become really stressful. And, and it's almost kind of like an energy of feeling taken advantage of is kind of how it would make me feel. But yeah, it's so wild. But it's part of also, you know, look at your journey and how much you've grown and the experiences and the opportunities you've had. And you've talked about this in the past too, where, you know, you work hard and it looks easy to people on the outside, but it's not. That is not the actual reality of it. And of course the experience is fun while you're filming and everything in between and after. But, you know, there are other situations that happen that people don't know about that can really kind of disrupt the process and make it not enjoyable. And that's difficult, especially when you're doing something that you're meant to enjoy because you enjoy doing it, you know? It's hard to find those people that really resonate with you in your path and that are kind of on like the same wavelength.
I wear many hats, myself. And like, I literally probably do the job of like 25 people, like not even kidding you. And it's tiring. And so then when I have someone that's like dead weight and baggage, I'm tired and I'm done with it. I'm tired. You know, like and if you don't understand like how the production thing works and like how teamwork orientation works, then you shouldn't be here.
Right.
You shouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to do a little thing, you know, like I was actually talking to Blake about this the other day because I was telling him about contracts and like negotiations and stuff, and he goes, you know, here's the problem, Krystal. He goes, you know, you've had contracts. You have had 30, I have probably not 30, that's probably exaggerating. I would say I've had 15 to 17 contracts with different production companies, okay? Like, not recently, like, throughout my career, okay? And the reason they've fallen through is so many different reasons. I cancel them, they cancel them, whatever, okay? Now, a lot of people would be like, oh my God, like, you're ungrateful. You have that many contracts and you still don't have a series? And Blake said, that's because you want a prime series. You don't want I don't want to just become another Morgans of Shepherdstown or whatever, Shepherdstown, or, you know, just like a fly-by-night 2-season show. I'm wanting longevity. Do I want to go as long as Ghost Adventures, 22 seasons? Hell no. That's exhausting. No, yeah. I can't even believe he wants to go that long. Like, I want to retire or, like, do something else. Like, no way in hell do I want to go on 22 seasons. That's ridiculous. Honestly, I think he should have retired at 15 or 16, but good for him. But like, you know, the point of it is just I want longevity. So I have always shot for extremely high goals. I want very high goals. I'm very specific with what I want. And that's why I've had so many contracts, is I wasn't specific with what I wanted.
Yeah.
The universe will give you what you want. Manifestation is real. It exists. You have to work for it. You can't just think of something and expect it to show up. You have to work for it. However, if you're not specific, it will show up the way you requested it from the universe, which is why I had so many contracts that were not right for me. They weren't right for me because I wasn't specific enough. And to be honest, at some of those times, I didn't know what I wanted.
Exactly. And they were just stepping stones for more growth and learning. You know, it's one of those things, like you said earlier, like you don't really see them as downfalls anymore because it's led you to where you're at today and with the knowledge you have today. It's crazy. It's hard to find a group that resonates kind of at your level and your energy level, you know, of just like team or like legitimately team oriented.
Well, I got like Kat's amazing. She's helped me more than anybody. Kat's been involved in negotiations, which I think would be interesting to touch on that too. Elfie, it just knows. Like Elfie's great. She does our research. She's been involved. She's 36 episodes of Paranormal State under her belt. Like she's our elder. She knows. Like she's the Zen one. Like she's got it down. And then Shaylee, she's hustled and she has a huge following on social media. She understands the entrepreneur life, where a lot of other people that were involved didn't understand that and didn't understand what hard work meant. And it's been really nice to have people. It's been crazy because like Shaylee's been involved since March, and I've been distributing like workout to all of us kind of evenly, and I haven't had a problem. And it's been so weird because it's like I don't have to go behind anyone. I can trust you guys that it's going to get done, and I don't have to question it. And that's that sense of community, belonging, and family that I've like wanted to create since I was on Paranormal Challenge.
It's so true. And, you know, I feel like through all of the hardships, you know, this is eventually what it manifested into, was exactly what you were looking for. And, you know, it's, your vibe does attract your tribe for sure. And you've just got to weed them out. You know, just got to keep going through the process.
But, you know, this journey hasn't been easy, though. Like, I can admit that I've had some times where I've literally, like, been suicidal and I've wanted to die because it's been so hard. You know, like, I recently, you know, we took some time off. We have been, I've said this before, we've been in negotiations for the past 6 months. Negotiations are now coming to an end. Positive outcome, but we're not going to talk about it because I think that there's people out there that would wish us to not succeed, and so I'm not going to allow that energy to interfere with us. However, I did take a few weeks off because negotiations have been very stressful, and Kat's been involved with them, and the last like 3 or 4 weeks I lost an aunt. I lost my professor, who was like my number one like go-to. Like he was so supportive in my life. And then I had a family member that almost died on my dad's side, who was in a really horrific car wreck. And it wasn't just one thing, it was like compiling, and it was like we're so close to tasting success, yet I got so depressed. And just I mean I wouldn't have a plan to do anything, but I just have moments where this path has been so hard that I just don't want to be here anymore. And I mean that in a sense of, I don't support suicide, obviously, and that's not, and I've been in and out of therapy because this path's been so hard, but I have hit so many walls over and fucking over where they tell me, you're a woman, you can't do it, you're a female, you can't do it. Why does it matter what my gender is? Like, I was even comparing it to Cat the other day of like, no hate to the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, you know, but they've had quite a few seasons. They have the show Haunted Towns, and they did something else. But like, let's be real, they don't dress real nice. They're southern boys that are like farm boys. They have ripped jeans, pilly shirts, holy t-shirts, and like, you know, old like flannels, worn out hats. They talk southern. They're like, we're gonna go get us some ghosts and blow those ghosts up. They got a show, okay? We didn't get a show because we get picked apart. When I submit our information or our stuff to go into negotiations, they pick us apart piece by piece. Cat almost got cut in negotiations in January from a different negotiation I was in because they didn't like her social media. They didn't like her social media. There's no reason for it. Why? Look at the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. How did they get signed so many times in so many shows? Like, nobody picks them apart because they're men. Yeah. Chanel, I wasn't going to get a deal when Chanel was involved. Everybody that I had been in negotiations with when Chanel was involved, they didn't like her teeth. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. They wanted her to go get her teeth completely redone with veneers. Who has the money for that? That's $70,000 for top and bottom. You want me to wait for her to go spend $140,000 on her teeth and then you'll sign us because we're women? Like, the unjust in this is just unbelievable. Or like, or constantly, Krystal, you're going to be signed and nobody else. That's not the point of this. And so, I mean, I've hit so many blocks. There's sometimes, like, I just haven't wanted to be here. Because, like, I don't want to just be a YouTuber for the rest of my life. That was never the goal. And, yeah, if you're ever thinking of, like, ending your life, please go get help. But, like, I never got to that point. It was just depression of, like, I am never going to obtain my goal because I just keep hitting wall after wall. Because I have a vagina. Like, straight up, that's the reason. Mm-hmm. I see all these other men getting signed and these shows and these series coming out and, like, always a male executive producer. And when I'm trying to get in there, like, the only reason Amy Bruni did it, which I give her mad props for, she funded it herself. She had enough money from Ghost Hunters franchise that she could fund it herself. You get it, girl. I, however, am not a millionaire. I cannot fund it myself. So in order to negotiate with a studio, with a production company, with investors, you have to ask for millions of dollars. And they literally say, I don't like Cat's social media, no. Oh, I don't like Chanel's teeth, nope, sorry. Oh, we'll take you and nobody else. But then we want 51% control of the company so that we can turn it into another cheesy paranormal show that everybody effing hates because you're a woman in executive producer role that's in control and we don't trust your outlook. Mm-hmm. Period. And imagine, like, you get expunged, like, you get tired. You negotiate with every production company, and you're just like, I'm hitting wall after effing wall. Nobody's listening to me. Zach went and got Ghost Adventure signed. He did a pilot. He shot with Aaron and Nick. He took it to 2 agents. One of the agents shut him down. The other one signed it immediately. You know what I had to do to get the series signed? I had to have 10 years of YouTube under my belt, 170 shows, a podcast, a successful Twitch channel, a book, and everything else in order for them to want it. Why did it take me having to serve an actual product on a freaking platter in order for someone to pay attention to me just because I'm a female?
Right, because you're a woman, you have to prove yourself, and that's bull crap.
It's not fair. Crap. It's not fair.
It's not right. It's not right at all. It's just so crazy even to just, like, think about the journey and the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears and money that you've put into, you know, not only the project that we've been working on, but also before this. Like, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. Lots of money. And time. And, you know, broken relationships and trust. And, like, it's not an easy road. It's an ugly road when you have big dreams. Well, and you've always been really transparent about that.
And when people know your success or know how much work you have put into things, they want to take it from you. They want to piggyback off of you, and they want to put you down. Yet they wouldn't be able to put in the same amount. Where's your 170 videos on YouTube then? Where's your millions of views that it took me forever? You know how much money it cost me to get the podcast running? Like, then you do it. If you can do so much better, by all effing means, the door is open. Do it. If you can do it better than me, by all means, please do. You know, like, I've always supported women in film, but like, people don't understand is, like, the female executive producer, the only one involved is Amy Bruni, and she does it great. But like, I want a hit, successful show season after season, and that does not exist right now. And that's because it's ran by men over and over again.
It's true, and, like, you know, you're here to create a whole new opportunity for women in film and in paranormal and, you know, all of the above. And, you know, another thing I want to point out too is that you know, you have every right to be extremely confident in the hard work that you've put in because of how infuriating it is being a woman in film and having those experiences. But people that might not necessarily have that same mindset, for some reason paint it as like cockiness, and that is not it. Like, this is the disclaimer, because I have witnessed it and seen it myself in regards to Krystal. Like, you know, she's allowed to talk about the things that she's passionate about and the things that she's worked really hard on. That doesn't make her a bitch. That doesn't make her cocky. That makes her proud of the hard work that she's trying to not do just for herself, but for everybody else around her and for the future. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because, you know, as somebody that's worked with Krystal one-on-one for July, next month will be 3 years, actually. Holler, 3 years. You know, it's been such a joy. And, you know, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad to, you know, have people just say these things that genuinely have no idea, you know, about her life. And, you know, there are some that will just never know or choose not to listen, you know, but that is just not right. That is not right. Like, you have every right to stand in your power and say, I am proud of what I have accomplished, and I'm going to prove that in the future.
Well, I think that someone just said, so how do we change the mindset? Someone's going to have to bust the door open, and clearly it's going to be me. I can't imagine someone other than me starting over from scratch to where that I've gotten to the point where I'm at now. So once the door is busted open, I'm going to be a huge voice for this, and that will create change. But yet with the cockiness side of things, I don't think women should tear other women down no matter what.
Exactly.
I think that, you know, like, I mean, I'm a procreator for, like, everybody being included. I'm half Native American, indigenous. Like, my family suffered genocide. Like, Kat's family is obviously from Mexico. She's half Hispanic. You have Shaylee, who's half Asian, from Vietnam. You have Elfie, who's LGBTQ. Like, we're already torn down enough. We don't need to keep tearing each other down worse. I got mad one time because something had happened. It was Chelsea from what was it? Destination Fear was going to Comic-Con. There was another girl from the Holzer Files, and then there was, who else was going? Katrina? Was it Katrina?
Katrina.
And they went, so I've had a lot of producers screw me over from Travel Channel because they pretend like they want to, like, sign the series, and they end up not signing the series. They just use me for, like, ideas, and it worked the first few times, and then it didn't work after that. But so I know producers from Travel Channel, like, watch my every move because they're like, oh, Krystal's, like, full of good ideas, let's just take them from her. But the producers knew that I was pushing for female empowerment in paranormal, and they decided to have a panel at Comic-Con with Chelsea from Destination Fear, Katrina Whitman, and the other, like, psychic girl from the Holzer Files. And they talked about their oppression at being women in paranormal. First of all, I wasn't tearing them down specifically. I will not tear down another woman. That's not my bag of tea, because I'm trying to open the door for everybody in this industry. However, if someone should be talking about who has suffered trying to make something of themselves in paranormal, I don't think it should be Chelsea, who her brother's Dakota, who got in with Ghost Adventures. Holzer Files psychic is related to Holzer, so she didn't suffer getting in. And bless Katrina's heart, but my God, she's been on more series than I can count, so she's okay. She's taken care of. You want to talk about someone, a female in paranormal, actually suffering and trying to get somewhere and get the door open? Let me tell you a thing or two. That's what I was mad about. It wasn't them specifically. It was that Travel Channel set them up for my narrative when I have been the biggest outspoken person for women in paranormal for years because of what I've experienced.
It's true. And it's no secret to anybody, and to, you know, those of you listening and have followed GGG for so long, that, you know, Travel Channel has a habit of taking some of Krystal's ideas. A habit. It
happens constantly. Jesus. Constantly. I should be an executive producer for Discovery at this point, not even Travel Channel.
You really should. You really should. It's just wild, you know, and yeah, it's not to discredit, you know, those women and their experiences, but, you know, the fact is the fact. You know, they have their shows. Krystal's still hustling after creating an empire already to create it, you know? I mean, it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
So
So-
after, you know, the paranormal channel like blew up, it was great. You know, he who shall not be named, that, you know, is
Came along.
the Laho with the gun with the pahal, if you know who I'm talking about, because I will never say his name again, because I really don't care whatever happens to him, honestly. But but I literally, like, I haven't made income on the channel since.
Yeah.
I have. You've seen my AdSense, like, literally, you've seen my AdSense.
Yeah.
So I am considering making a second channel at some point. It's not going to happen right now, just where we'll start uploading there and start. I think that the algorithm is so squashed, like, I can't find. It's just, it is what it is. We're going to use TikTok to try to build, and we're going to go from there. But then after that,
yeah, when did, like, the pilot, like, idea come into play? So, like, you had the YouTube thing going on, you know, the whole thing with Paul going down. When was your idea sparked to create, like, a crew and, like, a team? That's when I come in about 3 years ago.
Don't say his name. Say Pahal, okay? Like,
Pahal.
Pahal. I can't believe he's doing UFC. My God, he wish he'd go away and just not come back out. You know what I mean? Like,
he's never held accountable for anything.
Him and his brother, for that matter.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna go to that forest someday, and I'm gonna film there, dedicated to that mofo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Without filming a dead body. You know.
Oh my gosh.
So the next phase was, you know, the channel tanked, and I lost money. I just lost a lot of money. Like, I wasn't making income off. I haven't made income off the YouTube channel in years, honestly.
Right.
Like $100 here and $100 there, but it's been squashed since. So I was like, okay, next step is, I feel like this is the universe telling me to find the right people in my life and to, like, move forward and do the thing, do the legit real thing. And found the people that, you know, 2 people are no longer here, and I decided to go shoot a pilot. At the time, I was going through some really heavy things at home that nobody knew about. When, you know, when we did pre-production, we planned it, we found the location for the pilot, we get ready to go, and simultaneously, the universe was like, let me give you a bunch of really hard things that you have to overcome while you're shooting the pilot.
It's no big deal.
And if you accomplish this, maybe you'll get, like, something on the other side. So essentially, my mom almost died 3 times. Now, once again, this is as we're shooting the pilot. We're getting ready to shoot the pilot. My mom has a triple bypass. She has horrible health issues. She's in the hospital constantly having surgery on her deathbed. She is the only family I have left. My mother is my world. We are very open in communication about death and the other side. If she goes, we've had those talks, but she is my best friend. It is a unique relationship when I'm an only child and a single parent. It is a very unique relationship. We survived when I was a child. You know, like, my dad left us, and she did the best she could, but we struggled. And I think that when you overcome serious survival struggles together, like, you are best friends. Like, so my mom's my best friend. We're getting ready to shoot the pilot, and my mom's, like, on her deathbed, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, what are we gonna do? Like, I'm beside myself. Ask Kat. I'm beside myself.
It was wild.
It gets to the point where I'm having to give her IVs and all this stuff. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to, like, take care of her and help her. I don't have family to call in to help me. I'm by myself. And in the meantime, I'm having severe relationship issues that nobody knows publicly. And to top it all off, my dog, that is my absolute best friend, I've had him since he was a baby, he has been sick, and he's going into liver failure, and I have spent $14,000. Did you hear what I just said? Call me crazy, I don't care, I spent $14,000 trying to save my dog from liver failure, and he died 1 week before we left to film the pilot. My life was in effing shambles, I am not gonna lie. Like, and I was worried about my mom leaving, like, you know, like, she's been sick, like, my dog is my life. My dog, like, I don't have kids. My animals are my children. I treat them like they are my children. And it was like I was processing it as the loss of a child. I called Kat, and Kat's like, we need to call off the shoot. Call off the pilot. You're going through too much, Krystal. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just you need to process. And so I'm like, we're a week before the pilot. I'm like, should I call it off? Should I not? Should I do it? The last minute, I'm like, I don't care. Just do it. Let's just do it. So everybody flies out to go shoot the pilot. considering the mental state that I was in at that time, because once again, I was considering unaliving myself because of all of the trauma and stress was going on in my life, I think the pilot came out pretty damn good.
Yeah, it did. It's magical.
So,
spooky.
Was that a happy moment in my life, to be honest? I just lost my dog. No, I was traumatized. Was I even checked in on set? Not really. I was so depressed. I was hardly sleeping. Like, if you watch, I know, like, no one's seen the pilot, but if you look at the pilot, like, I look just like this, gaunt. I look like I'm walking around like this because I'm just so exhausted from crying over my mom, over being cheated on in my long-term relationship, over my relationship failing, and over my dog dying. Like, it couldn't have gotten any worse at that point. But I still showed up to set. I did what I needed to do, and we filmed it, and it came out great, and we did the thing. Mm-hmm. Was it perfect? No.
Amazing.
It wasn't perfect. Considering what I was going through, I think it was pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. Very good. It was amazing. You know, despite so many hardships that she went through, Krystal still made it her prerogative to make it a good experience for everyone involved as a team. And I major respect for that, especially, you know, her having taken me under her wing as a producer and giving me the wealth of knowledge that she has learned from her hardships. I really admired and respected that, watching her continue to push forward in the midst of literal chaos. Literal chaos.
It was horrible.
So, yeah, it was wild. It was a wild experience for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my dog...
In the end, we pulled it off.
I mean, just losing my dog was just the icing on the cake, and I was just like, I'm done. You know, I'm done. And, but I was like, no, you have to go, Krystal. You didn't come this far to only come this far. Yeah. We went to set. We did the thing. And we got in several film festivals. Obviously, that says something. Yeah. And, you know, I edited the pilot. Yeah, I mean, it came by yourself. It's not perfect, but you know, I think that happens with growth too. And like, but remember, once again, Krystal's doing the job of 20 people. If I had enough people to be able to do their jobs, I probably wouldn't have been as overwhelmed either. But you know, it doesn't matter. I got the thing done. I got it done, and we did it, and it was a success. And you know, I can't believe I went through all that, but I do feel like it made me a stronger person coming out on the other side, because I know what I'm capable of now without being the victim.
Yep, it's so true. I remember we were having a conversation recently about the past and reminiscing, because that's a very normal human experience to have, I think. And we were talking about how much growth and how much, you know, how did you do it? I remember you saying, like, how did I pull that off? A pilot in the midst of that. And you know, it just really goes to show you what you can be capable of when you have persistence and a dream and hope. And you know, it's just so admirable. Just such an admirable experience. And
well, you helped me a lot. I wouldn't have been able to done it. I mean, literally, like, it was just you knew I was, you know, you were picking up the pieces, and it was your first major shoot, and you're like, I've got this, and I'm like, are you sure? You know, like, you do.
You know, it's, well, I mean, you know, and the only way to experience it is to just throw yourself into it. And you know, I would never wish any of those experiences on anybody, but I'm grateful for the experiences that I was able to have on set.
Well, it's true, because you're going to have hard experiences on set, and I feel like that had to have, just with me being so down with what I was dealing with in my personal life, you can't predict when that's going to when that stuff's going to happen. And I think if you can get through a challenging shoot like that, everything else is a breeze, you know. Like, I think it's meant to be, because not every shoot's gonna be a breeze. Like, there's gonna be weird things happen, but for that to be such a hard one, I think the rest are just like, all right, you know what, we got this.
It's so true. It's so true. And it goes to show you too, like, what you can accomplish when you have a team. You know, even if it is of just 2 or 3 people. You know, it matters when everyone's doing their part. So filmed pilot, and you know, and then we're just at where we're today.
Quarantine happened,
and that too
can't control that either.
And I miss Vegas so much, you guys. I haven't been out to Vegas in like a year. Been over a year now, I think. I
Yeah,
miss it.
quarantine-
I'll be there soon.
Quarantine was weird. It like canceled out some of our, we got into film festivals that turned digital because obviously no one could travel because of, the Rona.
Yep.
And it didn't stop me though.
Panini.
That didn't stop
Yeah.
me. I kept pushing it. I kept pushing it. I'm gonna push it till it's dead. And then we decided this year that if we didn't hear anything by about March for negotiations, that we were gonna reshoot another pilot.
Another one. Mm-hmm.
And we are at the point that we can formally say we will not be having to shoot any more pilots.
Yes.
Yes.
Wink. Yeah.
Yeah.
great.
The breakthrough may have finally happened, but I will not be confirming nor denying. I'm very.
It's true.
Where am I at today? I am tired.
We need a long nap. For like a year.
I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I have 10 years of trauma to unwind. No, I'm just kidding. I'm tired. No, really. Like, we took a break, and I'm tired. And I'm tired. I haven't been on YouTube. We haven't streaming, and we need some rest. And I haven't been shooting content for social media because, to be honest, I just don't really care. I'm back on TikTok and we're doing that, but I've just needed some rest. It's been a really, really long journey and a long wait awaiting for this next chapter to finally begin. And it's finally here, thank God. So we won't be neglecting the podcast. We won't be neglecting the YouTube channel. Like I said, we may start a second channel just to toy with the algorithm to see if it can get a little bit better. But I'm tired. That's just really the honest truth. Is I've been through a lot. Like I said, I've this whole time I have had to lead with a lot of masculine energy. I'm sorry, I have to brush my hair. It just feels like it's so hot. It's 113 here, and I just feel like my hair just keeps getting fluffier. But
it's like me with the humidity. I got like all these wispies. I'm saying
it's like an oven
having
here.
A moment.
But I've had to lead with a lot of masculine energy this whole time, and that is exhausting. And I'm in a mode right now where, I've done shadow work and therapy and all this stuff and self-help and self-love, but I'm at a point now where I need to re-find my feminine energy and bring it back in a little bit more, because I don't need to be on... What's a good way to describe this? On defense?
Maybe like defense.
Yeah.
Yep, you're thinking the same thing. Yep.
Even with like dealing with Zach, I've had a lot of questions on that. I never wanted him to sign the pilot. I am so glad he did not. If he would have signed it, he would have been in control and he would have been doing the thing without me. I am so relieved that path did not work out. There is no hard feelings. I just think that I have been leading with masculine energy for too long, and it's now time to balance it back out a little bit. And I think that's why I've been tired, as I'm sort of re-welcoming in the feminine energy, because I felt like I've been on defense for so long. What are negotiations like, Kat? Are they quick? Did they just happen overnight and they're over with?
No, they don't. No, they do not. They take months and months and more months and months.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Can anyone just go in and negotiate? Like, is it an easy thing to just do?
No, not at all, especially as a woman. You have to go in, like you've said, with that masculine energy of almost like your suit of armor to be on the defense, because they're going to throw a lot of curveballs at you, And that's how it's always been, with any negotiation that you've had. And that's hard to unlearn that, when trying to segue into a misogynistic world.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the negotiation process is grueling. It's grueling.
And you're the only... How many other people have been involved with negotiations?
None.
Just you.
Other than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
So does anyone else... Can anyone else speak on this process?
No. No, they cannot.
Right.
They cannot. It really is its own, like... It's like a being in itself. It's a whole other monster to have to tackle and to deal with. And the waiting is the hardest part. But it's all right, that's part of film life. I can officially say that's part of film life.
There's steps of it. You have to first find the person who's interested in you. Then you have to convince them, which is like maybe a producer with another production company. Then once you've convinced that producer, now you have to convince the production company of your product and yourself and your worth. Then if that goes through well, then you have to do it all over again with a studio or with the network. And so it can be repetitive. It takes a long time. You cannot force anyone to hurry up, or you might as well just kiss the contract goodbye. While this is happening, you are in a preliminary contract with said people. Contracts can last anywhere from 2 months to 6 months. When that time is happening, you are not legally allowed to negotiate with anyone else outside of said contract, or you can get sued.
Yep.
It's a process.
That's how it goes. But that's why it's hard. That's why it's hard. I feel like too, like you have so much freedom and like creative expression when you're filming a pilot and editing and like getting excited and then watching the final product and then sending it out. Like, you know, that anticipation's exciting. But I feel like from my point of view, like when you go into the negotiation process and like things happen, you're like, oh shit, this is like actually happening. Like this is, and that's like its own energy. And then when you're in limbo and then you're kind of like in just like the waiting phase, you're like, time slows down. What's happening? And like, you know, like, okay.
Well, and then you're on, I'm on call 24/7 when it's
You
happening.
are, absolutely.
But in the meantime, as if the negotiations aren't stressful enough, they are watching your every move on social media. You fart wrong, they're going to have a problem with it. They're watching your every move on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on the podcast. And if you make a wrong move, you're not for them. And it gets intense. It gets intense, and you kind of get scared because you're like, I don't know if I should post anything. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if I should post.
You overthink it.
You do.
You know? It's easy to do that. It's very easy to do that because it's, you know, such an amazing opportunity, you know? But, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's been
I'm only laughing because this has been Kat's, like, largest major one she's been in with me recently. Yeah. And you got really far into this one. Congratulations.
I did. I was excited.
It is.
Compared to this one.
yeah, you've done well. You know, but I'm also faithful and loyal to the people that I work with. Like, we had another negotiation happen in January. They wanted to cut Kat because of her social media. I cut the contract. I'm not going to do that. So, like, I'm faithful to people because I want people to be faithful back to me. And once again, I'm not going to hurt others with trauma because I've had that done to me. Don't do to others that's been done to you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. My mom just raised me to be, like, a kind soul on this planet. And, like, I think we have enough suffering. There's no point to inflict it on each other.
It's true. And I think that, you know, when you approach situations, especially with other people, and you're, you know, you just know when work needs to be work and when personal is personal. I think that some people can take advantage of the personal aspect of your kindness, and use that as a means of like manipulation.
Oh yeah.
You know, and there is a distinct line, you know, where that's not okay. And that is what has happened in the past, unfortunately, and it's just a part of life, you know. There's lessons all around and you just keep going. So gotta appreciate the beauty in it.
I think I told you this the other day too. Is like, how is it that Shaylee came into, like, I mean, I've known Shaylee for a few years, but like, how did it just work out so well? You know what I mean? Like, she's just that perfect like little piece to the puzzle.
Okay, I was just thinking that.
How did it just work? You know, like, it's the long story short is, some people are meant to be on your journey temporarily, and some people are meant to be on your journey long term, and not everyone's meant to be there for the whole part of the journey. You know, like, one thing I truly believe in, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Krystal, like, you're successful, like, how did you do it? Don't act like I'm special. Anybody can do it. You have to put your mind to it. It's the law of attraction and learning how to manipulate energy. And, like, but that's the thing is, people like, oh, the law of attraction doesn't work. I just thought of $100 and look, it's not there. That's not how it works, boo. You have to work for it. You have to work for it. You do. You have to make, if you're going to imagine a Lamborghini to show up on your front porch, like, you're being unreasonable here. Like, you still have, there's other 12 laws of the universe that also have to come into play with it. But, like, I think that we as people come to this planet, or humans, or beings, whatever we are, to learn how to manipulate energy. And you either succeed at it, or you don't. You know, like, where did I start mine? I started studying millionaires and billionaires. How are they millionaires and billionaires? I want to be a millionaire. How? Because they apply the law of attraction to their life. They attract it into their life and, like, literally create, like, what they want without limitations. When you're surrounded by toxic people that are telling you, no, you can't do that, like your parents or your friends, you're going to believe it. You're going to believe, no, I cannot do that because I'm putting my limits within my own head. And once you learn to master and create energy within your life and, like, and master, create, like, actual things, like my Jeep, I've always wanted a Jeep, bought it a couple years ago. Once you start creating, I wanted to move to Vegas, bam, there. Once you create those things in your life, money starts flowing into you, like, effortlessly, and prosperity and abundance. So I'm not special. Anybody can do it.
It's so true. And you've been such a spokesperson about that as well, and you have even offered insight and tools on how to do that, you know, on your YouTube channel. So fingers crossed, you guys. Any good vibes you have, send them our way. Absolutely. You know, things are looking up.
Life is good right now. Yeah, I had a rough couple of weeks. I lost a couple of people in my life, which was really sad. In fact, I'd love to dedicate this stream to Ricardo Reina. He was a professor at UNLV. He was an amazing person. He's the one that taught me cinematography. I struggled really bad in film school at UNLV, once again, because I was a female. They did not want me there. They didn't want a strong female there. And I had reported a teacher, and I did a YouTube video on it, for basically stalking and harassing me. And the school and the department didn't do anything about it. And he continued to stalk and harass me. And I was like, I went into Ricardo, my professor, one day, and I was like, I'm quitting. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with film. I'm done with paranormal. I'm just done. And Ricardo was like, no. You're gonna get up. Every time they knock you down, you're gonna get up. You're a female. You're indigenous. So what? Every time they say you can't do it, you show them 100 more times that you can. And so Ricardo was a huge mentor, like my number one mentor in film and paranormal. He started studying paranormal film just to help me. He was, I'm so blessed.
He's such an amazing soul. And I went to UNLV a couple of times when I was visiting Vegas for work, and met Ricardo. And just such a genuine soul. Such a genuine soul. I am very grateful to have been introduced to him and met him, you know, before his passing. So sad.
I'll be dedicating future projects to him for sure, because I definitely, there was a time I wanted to give up, and without him, I probably wouldn't be here. And I'm very lucky that I got to have him in my life, even if it was for a short time and temporary. You're gonna get me crying. Like, I just, you know, like, not a lot of people have supported this journey. You know, it's not every day that your kid wakes up and says, hey, I want to be a ghost hunter when I grow up. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been easier to be an actress. And Ricardo was, man, I'm lucky. There's not a lot of those genuine souls on this planet. And he was one. He was one of them.
He saw through the bullshit of men.
Yeah, he did.
And really just sees you for who you are and what you're capable of, and, you know, was just such an advocate. He was your cheerleader.
He was.
You know, such amazing person. He was.
I was very lucky. I went to his funeral. I got to speak at it last week, and sorry guys, I'm crying. And I'm lucky I have a new angel up there. But you know, I was really close to the next chapter of my life when he died, and I would have liked to tell him, and I know he knows now. But yeah, you know, he would have really enjoyed that. He would have really thought that was cool that I was still making something of myself, you know. So yeah, sorry I cried. Didn't mean to do that. Woo.
I mean, I think that's normal. That would be normal.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it sucks because, like, you know, my dad wasn't my biological dad. I talked about him a little bit in my book. He wasn't a huge part of my life. just because he was kind of a mess. He shouldn't have had kids, honestly. He just was one of those. And then my godfather stepped in, and he was amazing. And then he died. And I just feel like I always get these really strong male figures that support my feminism and movement, and then they die. And it breaks me. It just breaks me. But, like, I know I have to pick up and carry on and like, carry on their legacy to, like, show, like, look, you guys helped me on my path. Like, I'm not gonna give up now because you helped me come this far, you know?
So true. And, like, you know, their knowledge that they gave to you, and, you know, you having to even just be around them and, like, watch them, you know, you're going to be able to utilize that for your next chapter. And that's something that they would want you to do.
He got to go to Ricardo went to the haunted museum with us. It's pretty funny. He got to meet Zach, actually. Ricardo did. And he was like, is Zach always that strange? Like, he just doesn't seem like that on tape. Like, is he always that strange? You know, it's like, he was so genuine. Oh, he was so genuine. So, yeah.
Kind soul.
Whew.
Such a kind soul. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where Krystal's at and where we're at, you know, as a crew right now, on this journey. And thank you, Krystal, for letting me be a host tonight. This is weird. This is weird.
There's a new piece for everything, you know? You gotta try everything once.
Great. But I just, you know, it's an honor, honestly, because, you know, Krystal's bring through the ringer, and, you know, she is deserving to have her story told, and she should be the one to do it.
It's true. You know? Yeah, I mean, like, it's... I just want to be a voice for other people that understand that, like, I think it's a very human thing to go through tough times and challenges. I've said for years, and I don't know why, I assume it's my old soul, but I always say that this is one of the hardest planets to live on. I don't know why I know that, I just do. I think that the souls that need the biggest, maybe the oldest souls come here to learn hard lessons, but this is a hard planet, and we go through some really difficult things that we write in our path and our life contracts. And it doesn't need to define you or take you over. It doesn't need to stop your life from progressing in a positive way. You know, like, we all have hard times. Like, I mean, there's other people out there I know that have been through their own... Kat has her own story, too. And just remember to always pick yourself back up. Because, you know, the number one cheerleader needs to be yourself. I have lost 99% of people out of my life who haven't supported my dreams or my path, and that includes family. And I told Kat this the other day, is like, blood ain't always blood. Family ain't always blood. It's not. Family can be a friend, and I mean, Kat and I think we go way back on the other side. Yeah. So just, you know, find your path, stay to it. You're gonna be told no. You're gonna fail. You'll learn from the failures. The failures are good. You have no idea how many failures I've had. And I have needed every single one of them, because every single failure has led me up to this point where I'm at right now.
It's true. It doesn't matter how many times you're told no or how many times the door is slammed in your face. What matters is how many times you get back up. And you've always been a spokesperson on that. Also, buy Krystal's book, The Love Diaries. Okay, I just want to put that in there. It's really good, guys. Really. I think we're still wanting to do a stream on this.
Yeah,
so at some point. That's why I'm doing the shameless plug here to make sure you read it. It could be like a little mini book club on a stream talking about it. You know? I love it.
Oh, God, my love life. Oh, Jesus. That's a whole nother drama kit going on, you know? I don't want to talk. And you know what? People always say, like, why don't you talk about your love life? Because I don't want to. Okay? Like, it's nobody's business. Like, you know why? Because you look at the tabloids of, like, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, right? For example. And, like, they're going through some shit. Like, they're going through the divorce. Like, they're going through custody battles. And then you look under the comment section, and everybody thinks they're entitled to a comment on what they should and shouldn't do. And it's like, I don't want people to have that kind of power over my life. So no, I share enough of my life. I share my makeup, I share my Jeep, I share my fashion, I share my paranormal getaways. Will I share my love life? No, it's none of your business. I don't want you talking about me. You know what I mean?
Better keep some form of privacy. Yeah. You know, we're still human. You know. Yeah. But this was great. This was a good fun stream.
It was good. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Kat, for being the host. That was just amazing.
Fine. It was fun.
It was fun. Next week will be Elfie with lake monsters.
Lake monsters.
We love Elfie's knowledge. You guys have to wait for,
She's amazing.
Oh, she's just a
Shaylee's amazing.
She's
too.
I mean, Shaylee's amazing too, but Elfie's like the genius of the crew. She's like a library in her brain. You know what I mean?
She's like a wealth of knowledge.
She is. And then if she doesn't know something, she's like, I'm gonna buy some books on that. I'll get back to you on it.
I'm
Like,
gonna buy 10 books on it.
I love it.
And it's amazing. It's amazing.
She's got to be on the genius spectrum, honestly. And then Shaylee's awesome. You guys are gonna get to know Shaylee a little bit more. Very soon. She's going to be coming on streams with us, and she likes to do like serial killer stuff and like where they haunt, serial killer side of things, and she likes different topics. So we're gonna change things up with Shaylee, and yeah, just stay tuned for everything. And I think that was a good comeback stream for sure.
This was fun.
Oh, make sure you're following us on TikTok, okay? Because it's starting to get really serious, okay? And
it's a thing. It's a thing now.
Yeah, like, I mean, Kat and I are on TikTok, Kat Cormier, Krystal Leandra, but like Ghost Girl Diaries is on TikTok. And Kat's going to be starting uploading next week, but I've started it just to get it going with like the algorithm thing. And I think Shaylee's she's like, I'm ready to jump in too. So yeah, I want you, it's going to be just different fun content, fun random content. So make sure you're following us on TikTok. Link is in bio, or go to ghostgirldiaries.com, and make sure you're following us on social media. And yeah, like we've been quiet because we've been busy and tired.
Been resting. Rest is important. We can't run on as the Energizer Bunny 24/7.
Well,
so
also when we're quiet, that's when things are going on. I've told people that before. Like when I'm quiet on social media, it's because I have bigger fish to fry right now, and it's been like 110 in Vegas. I'm hot.
Ugh. Ooh.
I want to move to like somewhere cold for the summers.
Alaska.
Seriously. Just gonna go to
the snow. It's fine.
A little bit. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you're following us on social media. You can find all of our content, including my book, on ghostgirldiaries.com. We will catch you guys next week with Elfie, and as always, we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Back from the dead.